Okay, I think we've given it enough time for everyone to kind of get home and get logged in and join us. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you. My name is Paige Lover, and I'm the District Counselor for College and Career Readiness. And tonight we're going to cover for 8th grade and 9th grade parents, college and career readiness. So what do you need to do to start guiding your child on that pathway to college? A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. As you see, we've got the website for our department website listed on your screen right now. If you'd like to go ahead and write that down or take a screenshot or a picture of that, you'll find a wealth of information on our websites, from CTE to Linked Learning Academies to college and career readiness. We even have a page dedicated just for our seniors while they're applying for college. So be sure to visit us on our website. As we're going through this evening, it's just me, myself, and I. So if you'd like to ask questions along the way, I'd love to answer them. If you just go down the chat and put the questions in that area, I'll periodically look down at the chat and see what questions you have and take a moment and answer them as we go along. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So from the looks of it, most of you have 8th graders, a couple 9th graders. Either way, it's appropriate. Let's start covering what does it take to get from freshman year in high school into college, and the college, hopefully of your choice. One of the things that we're trying to really emphasize right now with students is starting to think about their college and career readiness earlier and earlier. So we're trying to push down into the 5th, 6th grade. And it's not so much that we expect them to know exactly what career that they want or even what their interests are. It's that we want them to start knowing to explore what those interests are. So we really encourage kids to get involved, whether it's through sports or drama or band or the different activities on their campus and clubs, volunteering in the community. The more experiences that they have, they're going to start getting to know themselves much better. What they like to do, who they like to be around. Do they like to be inside, outside? Do they like to lead? Do they like to follow? Do they like to work by themselves or in groups? These are all things that they need to learn about themselves in order to make the right decision for their careers. I'd love to tell you that they're going to have their career down by senior year and know exactly where they're going. I think that's rare. I think they start narrowing down by senior year. But I think those additional experiences in college are going to shape them into exactly what part of the field that they want to go into for their career. So the more experiences, the better. And once they get to college, internships, externships, and actually you can start those in high school as well, especially through our Linked Learning Academies. The internships really kind of give them that hands-on feel for what that job entails. And they also pick up skills along the way. I tell students the college degree gets you the interview. It's those internships and externships that you do while in college that actually get you the job, because that's where your skill building is happening. And that's what's going to set them apart from other students. Is this pre-recorded? No, we are going to record it tonight and we will post it later. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. So choosing the right classes. So in middle school, a lot of your students that are maybe taking advanced classes are taking the pre-AP classes. AP stands for advanced placement. So they're calling it pre-AP, even though it's not really an AP class yet. Students are surprised that when they get into their freshman and sophomore year that they're not continuing to take pre-AP classes. They're now taking honors classes. So usually in the freshman sophomore year, you'll see honors math, honors English, and then it's not until their sophomore year that they usually start having the opportunity to take advanced placement courses. Advanced placement courses are a college level course taught at the high school. And so at the end of the school term in May, they have the opportunity to take the AP exam. If they score above a 3 on a 1 to 5 scale, 3, 4, or 5, they usually earn some kind of college credits. Now, do all those college credits transfer exactly for that class and that subject area? It really depends. Even within the UC system, each UC has their own policy about how they count the AP courses. An example might be, my daughter was an English major at a UC. She took calculus in high school, got 4 on the AP exam. Being an English major, the university counted that AP calculus test as her math class. So she never had to take math once she got to college. Her friend who did the same thing, 4 on the calculus test, was majoring in engineering. That student was given elective credit, but was asked to take the calculus at the college level. So it's going to depend on what college you're at and what major you have and how they'll count those AP courses. The other thing that we have are community college classes from COS, either concurrent or dual enrollment. And so let me explain the difference. Concurrent enrollment is basically a class that the student goes over to COS and takes at COS. Dual enrollment is a class that COS is offering on the high school campus, and you're taking it during the regular school day. For example, we're offering COS's English 1 and English 2 to our seniors. And if they complete these 2 classes, they've basically met their lower division English requirement for college by the time they graduate high school, which is a great bonus. Students can take up to 11 units at COS at any one time, free of charge. If it's a concurrent enrollment class, the student's responsible for purchasing the book. If it's a dual enrollment class, Visalia Unified takes care of the book for them. These classes, as long as they're numbered 1 through 99, transfer to the UC system, and you get direct credit for those courses. So if I'm taking calculus at COS, then when I go to a UC, they count that as calculus and the credits that go along with it. So let's go over some basics. So graduation requirements. What are the basics that you need to do to get those high school diplomas? This is different than the requirements that are mandatory to get into college, which are called the A to G requirements. So we'll go through both of those tonight, but let's start with high school graduation. So history, English. So for high school graduation, you're required to have 4 years of English, which is 40 credits. So you basically earn 5 credits per semester that you pass. You must pass these classes for high school graduation with a D or higher. We prefer the higher. And if you're taking them to get into a 4-year college, you need a C or better. History, you need 3 years of history. So freshman year, they get a break. Sophomore year, they take world history. Junior year, US history. And then senior, semester civics and semester economics to make up those 3 years of history and social science. Math, it is a 2-year graduation requirement. So I know down here it says 3 years for those starting in 2022. They have, the school board has changed that. We are remaining with 2 years at this time. So please ignore the 3-year. So 2 years of math. They must take integrated math 1 and 1 additional year. That's different if they're going off to a 4-year college, but we'll look at that in a minute. Science, they need 2 years of science, life science and the physical science. So all students take biology for their life science. And then for their physical science, they take either physical earth science, which is a very basic science class, or chemistry. Some students will ask if they can take chemistry their freshman year. This really depends on the student. If they're a student in middle school that does really well academically, that you don't have to remind to do your homework, who is taking pre-AP math in 8th grade and just doing amazing in it, then maybe chemistry is something to consider for freshman year. But if you're like most students and still trying to perfect those study skills, and maybe your math is not the pre-AP math, or if you're in pre-AP math and struggling a little bit, it's better to wait till your junior year to take that chemistry. Health, is a freshman requirement. It's a semester-long class on basic health, how to eat healthy, drugs, sex education, that all covered in health. PE, you have a 2-year requirement for a PE. So you can take 2 years a PE, or you could take 1 year in your freshman year and then a dance class, and that will count. You could take 1 year your freshman year and then do 2 sports from your sophomore year and above, and those 2 sports will count towards your PE as PE waivers. If you in your freshman year take PE and fulfill 5 of the 6 California state standards for PE, then you can then use marching band or cheerleading or dance to count towards your PE as well. So that's something to keep in mind, and your counselor can kind of help you sort through that and what placement would be best for you. Foreign language or fine art. You need one or the other for high school graduation. 1 year fine art or 1 year foreign language. That changes if you're going straight to a 4-year college, but we'll talk about that slide after this. So if I take Spanish, I've fulfilled that requirement. If I've taken choir, I've fulfilled that requirement. If I take welding, I fulfill that requirement. And then on top of it, you need 75 credits of electives. These are the classes that you choose. So that can be, I choose to take 3 years of foreign language, or I'm going to take choir for 4 years, or I'm going to take welding all 3 years. It's just basically the students' exploration classes that they choose to take and get a deeper dive into things and look at what they want to explore. Now, these things are going to change just a little bit when we look at the A to G requirements. I see up 2 questions first. A child in the 8th grade, yes, this is correct meaning. So this is basically preparing you to help your child once they get to high school and on the college and career pathway. Understand that this coming February, you will be scheduling your child for their high school classes. And I know that sounds far away, but it's going to be here in the blink of an eye. So we're trying to give you a foundation so that when you're choosing classes and you're starting to think about what their high school years are going to look like, you have some things to help guide you. Okay, so A to G requirements. So A to G requirements are the courses that the UC system, University of California, and the CSU, California State University, have agreed on that students must take in high school in order to apply as a freshman at their colleges. They also, when they're taking these courses, must earn a C or higher. If you are applying to a competitive school like UCLA or UC Berkeley, the more A's, the better. The higher the grades are going to make you more competitive. These are what are called the minimum requirements. So the least amount of courses that you can do to meet the eligibility to apply to the 4-year colleges. Now, some students may choose not to go straight to a 4-year college, and that's fine. They can go from high school to a 2-year college like COS, do what they want at COS, and meet the requirements for transfer, and then transfer to a 4-year college. Or they can go to COS and get a CTE certificate, career technical education certificate, or a 2-year college degree, and that may be the pathway they choose. But I just want you to know all of your options. So for A to G requirements, you're required to have 2 years of social science. This is already met during your high school graduation requirements. So that's the world history, the US history, and the civics. We also offer these in AP versions as well. So AP European history, AP US history, and AP government. So you have 2 options. Some students will also choose to take things like US History 18 at COS to meet the requirement. English requirement, you're required to take 4 years of English. So freshman year, you can take English 1 or English 1 honors. Sophomore year, English 2, it's English 2 honors. Excuse me, the smoke outside is just getting to me. Junior year, they would take American Lit AP? No, English Literature AP. And then also they can choose They can choose American Literature or AP English, one or the other. Senior year, they can take what's called ERWC. It's a course that's designed by the CSUs to meet the senior English requirement and make sure that they're ready to write for English at the CSU level. They can also take AP English, or they can take the dual enrollment of English 1 and English 2. Math. To transfer to a four-year college, you must take 3 years of math, and you must go through integrated math math 3 at the least. So you're going to take integrated math 1, integrated math 2, integrated math 3. If you're applying to a competitive college, I would definitely take 4 years of math. So that might look like pre-calculus or AP statistics or AP calculus. It just depends on what math level you start with your freshman year, what will give you time to take the AP calculus or AP statistics. Lab science. They're required to take 2 years of lab science. So that would be biology and chemistry. Again, if you're going to a competitive school, I would take 3 years and go into the AP sciences. So you have AP biology, AP chemistry, AP physics, chemistry, biology, okay? Foreign language, you're required to take 2 years of the same foreign language. So 2 years of Spanish, 2 years of Spanish for Spanish speakers, 2 years of French, 2 years of American Sign Language, whatever you might choose. Again, if you're going to a competitive college, consider taking 3 or 4 years of foreign language. The F requirement is visual and performing arts. You need 1 year at least. So this can be band, choir, drama, photography, advanced filmmaking. These are all options in that category. And finally, the G requirement. The G requirement is 1 college prep elective. So that could be 1 more class in any of the areas we discussed. And then there's additional classes in that area that you can draw from as well. And I'll show you in a few minutes where you can look at the list to see what classes are offered specifically for your high school. Looks like we've got a couple more questions. Okay, would this be the same with child transitions to independent study? Yes, the requirements to go to graduation and the requirements to go to a 4-year college are still the same, even if you're at independent study. And through independent study, you can take A to G courses, so you can meet these requirements. You just need to sit down with your counselor or learning director at independent study and kind of map out what you need to do to fill those. The next question is, does American Sign Language count towards a foreign language for Cal State College? Yes. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. So these are some examples of what you can take to meet each A to G requirement. So for social science, that would be the world history or AP European history, US history or AP US history, civics or AP government, and then economics. For the English requirement, English 1 or English 1 honors, English 2, and then English 2 honors, 1 and 2. 11th grade, or I stumbled earlier, American literature or AP English language. And then 12th grade, the expository reading and writing or AP English literature, or the English 1, English 2 that COS offers on our high school campuses. Math, so you're going to start out either in integrated math 1 or integrated math 2, depending on your 8th grade math class. If you're in pre-AP integrated math right now, then you'll start out integrated math 2. If you're in 8th grade math right now, you'll start out in integrated math 1. And this is what the sequence looks like. So in the senior year, you're going to have some options to start getting into the AP math classes. Okay, lab science. Like I said, most students start their science in 10th grade with biology and chemistry in 11th grade. And then here's examples of the AP science classes that we have: AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP Physics, and AP Environmental Science, which is a very popular class. Foreign language, again, 2 years of the same foreign language. 3 if you're going, 3 are recommended if you're going to a UC, not required, but recommended. Again, the more competitive the college, the more years I would try to do as a student. Again, with C's or better, preferably higher grades than that. And then visual and performing arts, the dance, drama, music, art, advanced video, these will all meet that requirement. And then 1 additional year college prep elective. So if you go to this website that I have listed at the bottom here, you can either take a screenshot or take your camera and take a picture of it. Basically, on this website, you can punch in which high school you're attending, and it will pull up your high school, and you can course list, and it'll list out all the classes that meet each of the requirements for A to G. And there's quite a few classes in the G requirement that will help meet that requirement. If you're doing the linked learning academies, a lot of their electives fall in the G requirement, which is really nice. So if you're kind of curious what the 4 years are going to look like, in your freshman year, you're going to have the opportunity to meet with your counselor. They will send a notice home, so parents or guardian can come in and meet with the student and the counselor. You can ask at that time to put together a 4-year plan. This is kind of mapping out what all 4 years will look like. It's not set in stone. So as you go along, if you need to make modifications and change things, that's fine. But it's kind of nice to have that plan and know what to expect as you're going through. So I would definitely take advantage of that meeting when they send you notice. This is an example of what the sophomore year might look like. Got your English 2, math, biology, world history, foreign language, and then PE or sports. Junior year, your English, your math, your science, your history, your foreign language, and a college prep elective. And then senior year, your English again, your math, your science, foreign language, your civics and econ, and a college prep elective. Do remember though, we do offer summer school. Some students choose to take their history classes during the summer. This frees up a spot during the school year so that you can take more exploratory classes. So you might want to take advantage of that and do summer school. Okay, so PSAT. As you've probably read, things are changing for the SATs. The UCs, prior to the pandemic, were already considering withdrawing the use of the SATs. I think basically the pandemic has sped up that timeline. So last year and this year, they are not requiring the SATs. And in the future, I think there's discussions that they'd like to come up with their own tests, but nothing has been put out at this point. If you are planning to go to a CSU, they are also not going to be requiring the SAT. For private schools, however, for schools out of state, it's going to vary on who's going to require the SAT and who's not going to require it. So if you think your student's going out of state or to a private university, you'll probably want them to do the PSAT, which is a kind of a practice version of the SAT. They take it at school, they sign up at school. It usually runs around $15 to take it. They do have fee waivers if you qualify. If a student does extremely well on the PSAT, they can qualify for what's called the National Merit Scholarship Program. You have to score probably around the 97th to 98th percentile for this designation. and it puts you into this running for scholarships. Just making the first step of National Merit Scholarship, it gives you kind of a bump when you're doing applications for these UCs or private schools, because there's actually a box for the private schools that will actually ask, did you qualify for the National Merit Scholarship Program? And you check that off. And so it might be worth taking the PSAT just for that. And that's only junior year that you can qualify for the National Merit Scholarship. You can take PSAT freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. It's the junior year that determines the national merit. So we've got another question. Can you take PE in summer school? We've gone back and forth. The last couple of years, we have offered PE in summer school, and there's years that we have not. So I wouldn't rule that out as an option. We just need to see what they're going to offer each year and make adjustments from there. Okay, so SAT versus ACT. Again, the UCs and CSUs will not be using this test at this time, but private schools, schools outside the area of the state may still use them. And so they're basically, ACT used to be East Coast, SAT was West Coast. Now they're they're interchangeable. If you want to practice for the SAT, you can go to the Khan Academy, and College Board, who makes the SAT, has partnered up with Khan Academy to make a free prep program for the SATs. So know that that's an option. TreeRice.com is kind of cool. It's a vocabulary building kind of game site. And so if your students want to practice their vocabulary, that's a great site to go to. SAT subject tests are not required, but sometimes if you're going to engineering or other competitive majors, they may recommend them. At this time, again, we've been doing away with SATs. I would think that it would be, again, the private schools that are going to be using the subject tests. Your counselor can sit down with you and help you look up the requirements for the schools that you are planning to attend and help you meet those requirements. Does participating in a school sport count as a PE course? It counts as a PE waiver. So you don't get units for it, but you get a waiver from those units. So all freshmen are required to take PE, and then sports played sophomore year and forward count towards those PE waivers. So you'll have 1 year done in your freshman year, and then if you do 2 sports between your sophomore and senior year, that will waive the rest of your PE requirement. Great question. Okay, so when you're applying to colleges, they absolutely look at your transcript. They look at your classes to see if you challenge yourself. Did you take the most challenging classes that you could for where you were? But they also look at your activities. They want to see if you were involved, okay? So students sometimes think quantity is what they're looking for, the number of things that they get involved, when actually they're looking for quality. So you could join 20 different activities, but not really get deeply involved in them. The UCs, CSUs, private colleges really don't like to see that. They would rather see you pick 1 or 2 things that you really feel passionate about and really get involved in. So maybe freshman year you join a club and you're a member. Next year maybe you're the secretary for the club, and then the vice president, and then the president. Maybe you go out to the community and volunteer and you start taking leadership positions that way. They want to see how deeply you dive into it, how involved you get, and that leadership opportunity. Did you take advantage of that? So quality versus quantity, always the quality that they're looking for. Question? Let's see. I'm not sure how to answer that question. If you give me more detail, I'm not sure. Sorry. Okay, next question. Internships and community projects. So when you're looking at the more elite private schools, transcripts for students start to look very similar. The AP courses, the college courses, the great grades, being involved. That's where things like internships and community projects can help your students that, rise above the other students. So, for example, there are some colleges where you can apply for your lower division or your undergraduate education, as well as your graduate program, all in one package. So you'll do like 3 years for your undergrad, and then jump right into, maybe if you're being a pharmacist, the pharmaceutical program or the dental program, in some cases the law program. And so what we have found is that students that are looking at medical programs that do the undergrad and graduate program in one application, they're looking to see that the students had some internships doing research. Since we don't live in an area with a lot of universities around us that offer students that opportunity to help out in research labs, it makes it a little more difficult. UCSF offers a summer program for students between their junior year and senior year, where they can apply for the program, and if they're accepted, they can go up to Fresno during the summer and do actual research in the lab with the researchers. This looks great when you're applying to these types of programs. Also, UC Davis has an extension in agriculture out in Tulare. I have had students reach out to them and set up internships with them as well, because they are doing research here in the Valley. Or you can create maybe your own community-based project. So if there's something that you feel passionately about, how can you get involved? How can you help out the community to make it a better place? And how did you get your friends to join in? We had one student who decided to enlist all of her friends to go back to the middle school where they went to school and set up free tutoring 3 days a week. Colleges love that. She ended up, I believe, going to Stanford. So take a look around you and see, what would you like to get involved and what do you feel passionately about, and see where you can make that difference. Okay, so going into the freshman year, things change a little bit, and it does get a little harder. I think when they're in middle school, there's a little more, the teachers are more kind of like warm and fuzzy. They come up and check with the student. How are you doing? What do you need to do to make things better? Get your homework out, show me your homework. In high school, it gets to be more real world. The teachers have more kids in the classroom. They have more kids throughout the day. So your student needs to really learn to advocate for themselves, to be able to speak up and say when they have an issue. I think as a parent, when you go, if there's an issue and you go in freshman year, take your student along to listen in how to advocate for themselves. Have conversations before you go in. Sophomore year, if there's an issue, have your student go in, but you can go in with them and listen, but let your student do the talking. And then junior year, it's time for them to start going in on their own, because you have to understand when they go off to university, you look at UC Berkeley right now, there's 30,000 students at that school. If they don't know how to speak up for themselves, they can get lost really easy. So it's better to start practicing that in high school and those skills. And as a parent, I know it's hard sometimes to let go, but the sooner they learn the skills, the easier that transition to college is going to be. Also, students sometimes, especially the brighter students, hit a period of time where things actually are more challenging than they're used to. things maybe stop coming as easily as they used to. And that can happen with the AP courses. And it's usually this kind of fork in the road with students. And when they hit it, there's two ways to go. They can go into the mindset of, this class is too hard, I'm not smart enough. Obviously, if I were smart enough, I would be getting this, and they quit. The other road is, yes, it's hard. Yes, I feel challenged, but I'm going to learn from the situation, and I'm going to learn how to study for more challenging courses, which helps them with college. It's very common when students go off to four-year schools to get their first C or D or F. And we want them to have the mindset to know that this is not abnormal, that most students will hit that fork of the road, and they've got to decide that it's not that they're not smart enough, because they are, but they need to know where the resources are. Go to tutorial centers, go get study groups, go talk to the professor in their office hours, not just sit back and wait for someone to come help them. I've had some AP students in the past where I suggested going to tutoring, and they had the mindset, they go, well, that's for the dumb kids. No, it's not for the dumb kids, it's for all kids. All kids are going to need tutoring at some point. And so they need to have the mindset that at some point they are going to struggle, and that's normal, and they can get through it. Balance versus burnout. So I'm talking to those kids that like to do everything and get involved and go, 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 which is fantastic. I would like to see you explore things and try new things, but there's only so many hours a day. And so make sure you're not burning yourself out. And sometimes these students feel very responsible that when they commit to something, they stick it out. Well, if they filled up the plate too much and they're feeling overwhelmed, they need to know that it's okay to talk to the teacher or coach or whatever may be going on and explain the situation that I have overextended myself and I need to back down and give up a couple of things. And it doesn't mean that they're quitting, but it just means that they're trying to strike that balance. And that rolls over into college too. There's so many things to get involved in, so many things to do. You want them to know how to strike that balance and not just try to survive on 4 hours of sleep or less kind of thing. So it's a great opportunity to have those conversations and learn what balance looks like. So 4 years of high school is going to go really, really quick, and sooner than you would think your child's going to be heading off to college. And so that means they're going to be in the dorms and taking care of themselves. So as they're going through high school, this is a great opportunity to start looking at what kinds of skills that they can build so that they're self-sufficient when they go off to college. My daughter, when she went off to college, about second quarter, her roommate said, "How do I wash my bedding?" They didn't know how to wash the comforter or the sheets. Basic money management. When they go off to college, they may have financial aid or student loans, or you may be sending them money. They need to know how to manage their money. I heard some great advice when my kids were younger, and it really helped us out. Basically, freshman year in high school, set an amount of money that you're giving them each month and let them know that this is what it's to cover. Their lunches, going out with friends, and let them budget what they need from that money that you give them. And if they run out before the end of the month, natural consequence is, I guess you're taking sack lunch, or I guess you're not going out with your friends. Then sophomore year, increase that, and junior year, start having buy their own clothes, that type of thing. Start the checking book, start talking about the money management skills. That way, when they go off, you know that they can handle their money and have a debit card and checkbook, and they're ready to go. The other thing is doctor's appointments. have them by their junior, senior year start setting up their own doctor's appointments, picking up the medicine at the pharmacy. Because if they go off to college and they're sick, you want them to know how to advocate for themselves, making those appointments and picking up pharmaceuticals and knowing what to do, and not just mom magically appears with the chicken soup and the antibiotic. So think about what skills that you want your child to have when they go off to college, and help them start practicing while they're at home, where it's a safe environment, and someone's still there to help them out. Okay, so we've covered the basics tonight. We've covered high school graduation requirements, the A to G requirements, how to get involved, and what the importance of getting involved is. We've talked about COS classes, both dual and concurrent enrollment. Talked about finding that balance, and then self-advocacy, and learning how to live on their own. And so I hope this helps kind of lay a foundation. As we go into the school year in January, if your student is interested in the Linked Learning Academies for high school, we will have a parent night. I believe that is on January 20th. Let me double check for you. You don't need to see that part. Yes, January 20th at 6 p.m. we will have a Linked Learning recruitment night that will tell you all about the Linked Learning Academies. In the 2 weeks prior to the parent night, in your child's 8th grade PE classes, they will be seeing videos on all the Linked Learning Academies and the CTE programs. And then we'll have the parent night. And then after that, that's when the application opens up. It's January 20th. You'll have about 3-4 weeks to fill out the application and submit it. And then about 2 weeks after that, you'll be notified that your student was accepted into those academies. So with that information, are there any other questions from you, the audience? Give it a couple minutes in case you think of something. Just go down to the chat box, type in your question. Okay, I did record tonight's event. I will edit it tomorrow, and then I'll post it on our YouTube channel. It's by Unified College and Career Readiness YouTube channel. So if you need to take a look at the information again, it's there for you. And also, the school counselors, once you get to the high school, are a great resource. Don't feel hesitant about reaching out for them and making an appointment to talk to them once you get there. Okay, someone asked if they're supposed to submit daughter's name on the chat. No, we were just kind of asking what students were coming from which schools, kind of give us a heads up, and waiting for everyone to log in, so you're good. And then you're very welcome. I hope that you found this helpful. And let's see, next question. Only child, okay. How important is sports to qualify for a good college? Not necessarily important. I wouldn't say that that's a deciding factor. If your student's a diehard athlete and that's what they want to do, they want to play college and sports in college, fantastic. But if they're not an athlete, I don't really think it's a determining factor. When you get to the high school, NCAA is the organization that oversees college athletics. And so there are requirements with the NCAA that you have to take while you're going through high school. It very much looks like the A to G with maybe 1 or 2 classes added in there. So if you think your child wants to play athletics in college, make sure you sit down with their counselor in the freshman year and map out what that's going to look like. Some colleges do give scholarships for certain athletics, football probably being the number one. And there's some sports that there really aren't a whole lot of scholarships tied to them. So you'll want to do your homework on that one. You can go to the NCAA website and take a look and start researching it that way as well. Are there any other questions from our audience? Daughter's honors English in 8th grade. How will that help her for high school? It's really building the foundation to go into the honors English in high school, which is a positive, because that will then lead into the advanced placement and then the dual enrollment English 1 or 2 if she chooses. And so it's really getting her ready for that college writing. So I think that's definitely a positive for her. Any other questions? Okay, well, I really appreciate all of you joining us tonight. And like I said, if you have any questions, your counselors will guide you through as you go through. Around February, you can expect the schools to start reaching out to you to register for your student's freshman year. If your student is currently a sophomore, in February, they will start registering for, if they're currently a freshman, they will start registering for the sophomore classes in February as well. So this is a good time to start discussing what classes that they might want to take. Does that mean she takes one less year of English? No, she'll still need to take 4 years of English in high school. So that would be English 1 honors, English 2 honors, most likely the advanced placement English junior year. And then senior year, she can take advanced placement English, or she can take the English 1, English 2 from COS. English 1 would be first semester, English 2 would be second semester. Those 2 courses would take care of her lower division English for college, which is fantastic. There's some colleges like Cal Poly right now, they're not requiring it, but they're suggesting 5 years of English. So by doing that English 1, English 2, you're meeting that 5-year goal that they're setting. Talk about stressing kids out, but okay. So I hope this helps. And if you have time, check out our website. It has a lot of helpful information. And thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Take care.